Time now for The Real Estate Connection with Stephen Theard, a realtor and certified probate and real estate specialist. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned investor looking to downsize, move up, or refinance, this program is for you.
Our house in the middle of our street.
From probate sales to landscape design to home repairs and maintenance, this is your weekly look into all things real estate. Now your host for The Real Estate Connection, Stephen Theard.
Hey everybody, it's been a minute. Welcome to another episode of The Real Estate Connection, brought to you by Good Patriot Realty. A salute to home ownership. Hey, I have an announcement for everybody who is listening to the podcast today. I'm going to put a graphic on screen, but I'm really excited about this because it really fits into the Good Patriot Realty brand and the American dream. Good Patriot Realty is proud to be partnering with Honor the Brave. Now, Honor the Brave is an association that gives back to our first responders and U.S. military service members. We are partnering with them to offer sellers 10% of our commission as a seller rebate, and for buyers, 10% of our commission as a buyer rebate, subject to lender approval and disclosures by the title company. In addition to that, 5% of our commission will go to the charity of the U.S. military member or a first responder's choice. And that does include veterans and retirees. And on top of that, Honor the Brave will provide a custom wooden American flag. So if you are part of the thin blue line or the thin red line, you could request an American flag that has the blue for the law enforcement community or red for the first responders in firefighting, or if you're a paramedic, or you can go with the traditional American flag for all those U.S. military service members. So I want to give a round of applause to all the people who put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms and the American dream of home ownership and private property rights. So a round of applause goes to you. Now, let's get on with the topic of today's program: the inventory shortage and the seller's market. That's right, we are going to talk about what seems to be a weird impossibility given the financial situation of our current economy, right? Because we're seeing inflation, cost of goods and services have gone up, and we have seen the 30-year fixed mortgage rate go up as well. And you would, logically speaking, think that inventory would maybe be up, or all sorts of other things could be happening, but that's not the case. So we're going to go through that. And oh, by the way, if you don't want to miss another episode, go right there, Apple Podcasts, subscribe. Look for me, Stephen Theard, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Podbean, and go ahead and subscribe. And every time we get done recording another podcast, it'll get uploaded and distributed, and you'll never have to miss another episode. So let's jump right on into this. The housing market all over the nation is experiencing an inventory shortage. California is no different. So in case you're listening to this podcast in another state or someplace else in the world, I'm based out of California, and so we kind of concentrate on California. However, this is a nationwide issue. The following are statistics from the California Association of Realtors regarding the number of months of unsold inventory within certain regions of California as of the end of July 2023. Now you're saying, hey, Stephen, we're going into September. We're actually in September. Why are we talking about July? Well, it takes a while to compile data, and the California Association of Realtors usually compiles them by quarters. So if we're looking at the second quarter that ended in June, and then if we're talking about a third quarter, July, August, September, we're still at 1 month to go in the third quarter. And so they haven't finished compiling the data for the third quarter, but this is a trend that's been going on since the end of 2022 all the way through 2023. Now let's talk about the months of unsold inventory. It's an indicator of how many months it would take to sell all available unsold homes if none were to come on the market during the same time period. So for instance, if we didn't have any houses come on the market for 6 months, how long would it take for all the inventory currently on hand to sell in that 6-month time period? So as of July 2023, according to the California Association of Realtors, the state only had 2.5 months of unsold inventory. That's not a lot of housing stock that it's available. It's actually really low for the entire state. Now let's look at two specific regions, Southern California and the San Francisco Bay Area. Southern California mirrored the state in that it only has 2.5 months of unsold inventory. However, here in the San Francisco Bay Area, we had even lower numbers at 1.8 months supply. So if we went for 2.5 months in the entire state with not a single house coming on the market for sale, we would be empty. There would be no more houses for sale in the entire state if nothing hit the market for 2.5 months. And that is not a long period of time, especially since escrows usually take 30 days. Now, according to the website keepingcurrentmatters.com, a neutral market sits at about 6 to 7 months supply of unsold homes. Therefore, anything under 6 months supply of inventory puts us in a seller's market. However, with only 2.5 months of housing available, we are in a deep seller's market. So that establishes by the numbers, based on the statistics out there, that we are in a seller's market and there is a lack of inventory out there. So what effect has the lack of available homes for sale done to housing values? That's the question. It's Econ 101, supply and demand. If you have a whole barrel of apples, 100, 200 of them, and you only have one person that wants to buy one, the cost of those apples is going to come way down. Now, if you have one apple and you have 100 people that want to buy that apple, the cost of that apple is going to do what? It's going to go up. So the short answer is that housing values have gone up despite the recent and persistent rise in 30-year fixed mortgage rates. According to the California Association of Realtors, the median price for housing in certain areas of California are as follows. So we're going to go down the same line of thinking. We're going to look at the state, Southern California, the San Francisco Bay Area, and then we're going to drill down a little bit deeper into Santa Clara County because it pops out as an anomaly from the Bay Area itself. Okay, so for the entire state, the median price for homes as of July of 2023 was $832,340. So if you want to buy a house, generally speaking, in the state of California, the median, the middle price point in the center of the big clump is well over $830,000. And it's an increase of 0.2% year to year, which means we've gone up since last year, which you would not think would be possible in a recessionary period where mortgage interest rates have gone up as well. Now, the median for Southern California is a little bit lower at $830,000, but it still is an increase of 2.7% year to year. All right, now we're going to take a look at the San Francisco Bay Area, and this is going to sound a little bit odd to you. Not the price of the median home, but the percentage increase or decrease. The median price house in the San Francisco Bay Area is $1,255,000. as of July of 2023, a decrease of 0.3%. Now you're saying, Stephen, I thought you said everything is going up. Well, not every spot in the Bay Area is as desirable as other places in the Bay Area, because we're talking about a big swath of multiple counties. And so you're going to have some cities that people just aren't looking to move into, and some cities where you definitely want to live because that's where the jobs are located. So we're going to look at one of the counties within the San Francisco Bay Area that is very popular, and that's Santa Clara County. So in Santa Clara County, the median price for a home is $1,800,000 as of July 2023, an increase of 3.4%. So that's an indicator that inventory being low is driving up the cost of houses, even though interest rates are high and we're dealing with an inflationary period. Now, logic would say with an overall increase in mortgage interest rates, prices of homes would come down. However, this is not the case. And I'm reading my own notes here. Here is why. Sellers are looking at the cost of a new mortgage when buying a replacement property, right? So you're wondering, we're asking the question, why are home values going up? And the reason is because there's a shortage of supply. And the reason for the shortage of supply is sellers, people who actually already own homes and have equity, are looking at the cost of a new mortgage when buying a replacement property. With the mortgage interest rates hovering around 7% for a 30-year fixed loan, most homeowners are waiting for rates to drop before they sell. Now, there's been surveys that are out there, and I don't have all of the quoted sources for this because I've been listening to some webinars recently. And what they found is there are a lot of people in their homes that do not like their homes anymore. They are actually looking to sell their properties and move. However, there's usually someone within the household who is saying, wait, hold on. We don't want to sell yet because when we buy that next property, the interest rate is still too high. And this is holding people back. Now, the issue is that over the past 10 years or so, we have painted ourselves into a corner with the decline of 30-year fixed mortgage rates dipping below 3%. Most homeowners, and if you didn't, I don't know why you wouldn't have, but most homeowners took advantage of the low interest rates, and refinanced and have a very, very comfortable mortgage payment. The rising costs of goods and services, along with a low monthly mortgage payment, make it a daunting decision to sell a home they are currently in for a replacement property. So you have to think that through. If you've got a really low rate, you're real comfortable in your housing expense, basically your 30-year fixed rate is your rent for 30 years before you actually own your home. It's not changing. It's fixed. So as inflation has gone up, cost of gas, food, all that has gone up, your mortgage payment has stayed the same, which is why buying a house is so great, because you can fix and lock that payment in for a long period of time. And if you were smart and refinanced and you're in a really low mortgage payment, everything else has gone up, you can still afford your house, right? Are you going to sell it and get into a higher payment along with everything else that's gone up? Probably not. So it's holding people back. So you have to ask yourself, if that's the case, why are there even any houses on the market, right? Not like, why is it so low, but why are people even still selling given these facts? So what is driving the market, you may be asking? And it's the usual suspects. Incredible job opportunities that require relocation. So you've been working for years, and the dream job opportunity becomes available with a massive increase in pay. It's a career changing opportunity and you need to move to a new location in order to take advantage of it, well, the tail's not going to wag the dog. You're not going to let your house or the payment or the mortgage interest rates stop you from making a move in your career that could set you up financially for the rest of your life. You're going to move and you're going to sell your house. You're going to deal with it because the opportunity is greater than the risk of getting that higher interest rate. All right, what's another one? The unfortunate breaking apart of marriages. I don't like to talk about this because it's heartbreaking. It's gut wrenching for families. It's gut wrenching for children and the people going through it. I don't wish divorce on my worst enemy. It's absolutely horrific to go through, but it's still happening. So the unfortunate breaking apart of marriages leading to divorce and disposition of the marital assets. And sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you just have to sell the house as part of a divorce. And those things are still happening. Also, marriages and the combining of households should each person already own a home, right? So if you're getting married again later on in life, you're established, your new spouse is established, you both have a house, you pick one to move into, you get rid of the debt on one end and you combine the incomes, you sell the house, you take the equity and you pull it in to a combined household and you use that money for other investment purposes, or you decide to keep the house and rent it depending on how much of a hassle that's going to be for you and your new family. But there are a lot of times when people just decide to sell one of the properties. That's another thing that's driving the market. Another unfortunate one is the loss of a loved one, leading to the liquidation of real property in an estate. And that's been going on a lot. And as our baby boomer generation is aging out and the World War II generation is definitely aging out, we're seeing a transfer of real property and wealth through the death of relatives that have acquired properties throughout their lifetime, and it's now being distributed to the heirs. And sometimes there's multiple people, and so the prospect of owning one property with 4 or 5 people doesn't make sense. And so the real estate in the come on, Stephen, the real estate in the estate gets sold and the proceeds get distributed. And then what's another one? The final one that I have on my list is retirement and the desire to cash out equity and relocate to a location of your dreams. So this happens a lot in California, probably in New York as well, where it's cold, or in the northeastern states around Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland, where the cost of living is really high because you're close to the seat of power, or you're in New York City because it's a high draw state or city where there is a lot of business and a lot of imports worldwide where people come and gather for business, and it's expensive because it's condensed and there's not a lot of land or a lot of property for sale. Or in California where we have technology and captains of industry and high tech and investment capital and colleges and universities. It's a driver for people to come here. And so the values are higher because there are very high paying jobs in tech in this sector as well. Now, if you've been living here for a long time, say you grew up here, you were born here in the 50s, or you were born in the 40s and you purchased homes way back when, and then now you're saying, hey, I'm ready to retire. I'm looking for a lower cost of living. I'm looking to cash out the equity and go buy a house in another part of the United States where it's less expensive and you can buy it for cash and then put money in the bank. That's also happening for retirement, and those sales are going on as well. So that's what's driving the market. We are not necessarily seeing people moving out of their current homes to buy that dream property or to just improve their environment, whether it's updating to the latest bells and whistles, going from a single story to 2 stories, or somebody wants a pool. A lot of those types of buyers and a lot of those types of sellers are no longer in the market. but the market is still moving because of necessity and because of lifestyle changes. So there is inventory out there to be had, just not as much as is in demand by buyers who have adjusted to the new higher interest rates. So the lack of inventory is creating a demand gap. Buyers have adjusted to the higher interest rates and are still actively looking for homes. However, the supply is not meeting the demand, and homes are still selling in less than 3 weeks in the heavily populated areas of California. So now is the time to take advantage of the seller's market before it shifts again. If you are at all on the fence, now is the time to move. Seasons do not last forever, and eventually sellers will all get off the fence all at once. According to the people at Keeping Current Matters, and this is based on a webinar that I was listening to, so there's no direct link for this source, it's based on my memory. When interest rates dip into the 5% range, homeowners will come back to the market, which means they're going to start selling. As they wait and wait and wait, it's like a pile that's growing over time, and it's going to get taller and taller and taller. And at some point, the dam's going to break, and people are going to rush to make a change because people are in houses that they don't like. And the only reason they're staying is for lower interest rates and not moving for the higher ones because it's an economic decision. Once the economic factors change in a line in the direction that they want to go, the dam's going to break. And it's going to be a big one because it's being held back now for over a year and a half, and we may see it last another year. So when it goes, it's going to go. So we're not, so when interest rates reach that 5% range, people will come back to the market. The problem is no one knows when this will happen. So we do know what we know now, right? We know where we're at today. And so it's good to take advantage of information while you have it. So if you are in any of the categories mentioned earlier and you are not sure about moving forward, you now have the data to pull the trigger and go ahead and list your property for sale. And oh, by the way, if you need help with that process of getting it ready to get top dollar, give me a call, Stephen Theard at Good Patriot Realty, 408-472-0817. You can reach me via email as well, info@realestateconnectionradio.com. But give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. So the keys to getting your home sold have not changed. No matter what the market is, there are certain facts, rules that never go away. So the keys to getting your home sold have not changed. 1, declutter and clean. Nobody wants to walk into a cluttered and dirty house. Repair flooring and repaint if necessary. Clean up the landscaping in the front and rear yard because curb appeal is very important. When people drive up to the house for the first time, they've already decided whether or not they like it from its curb appeal. You don't want to lose a potential buyer because of something that you have control of and you can change. Hire a real estate professional you trust and lean on their wisdom. We've been through the process over and over and over and over and over again. We can anticipate things on the horizon and we can cut things off at the pass from happening. And our job is to get you through the process safe and sound and get the most amount of money out of the house as possible based on what the market currently is providing. Follow pricing strategy, as overpricing will hurt you in this market. It hurts everybody in every market, but in a market like this, it's more damaging than ever. Stage your home. California especially, people have become spoiled. They walk into a house, they want to understand how it can be set up, what its potential is. People buy with their eyes and their sensations and their feelings, and you can induce a feeling and make the home more appealing to the eyes by staging the property. Hire a professional photographer, which your trusted real estate professional absolutely should do. If you see your realtor pulling out their iPhone and taking pictures, you may want to rethink that contract. Remember, contracts are not written in stone. Things can be changed. You want to make sure, insist that a professional real estate photographer comes out and takes the pictures, because all home searches start online. I used to say 99%, but since the pandemic, when people are starting to think about buying a house, they go to the internet. And pictures are vitally important for you to get your home sold. Take it one step at a time and remember to breathe. Try not to do the what if game, because if the problem isn't there, it doesn't exist. When it arrives, you deal with it. There's no sense in driving yourself nuts by thinking about the what ifs. So, in conclusion, the market is ripe for sellers, even with higher interest rates and inflationary pressure. Take advantage now while the statistics are still in your favor. And I'm going to leave you with this. Some encouragement. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. And don't forget, ask me about our rebate program for military members and first responders. We've partnered with Honoring the Brave to offer you, for sellers, 10% off our commission as a seller rebate. For buyers, 10% of our commission as a buyer rebate, subject to lender approval and disclosures through the escrow process. An additional 5% of our commission to a charity of your choice. And as a thank you, a custom wooden American flag, all through our partnership with Honor the Brave. Go ahead and give us a call at 408-472-0817. All you first responders and U.S. military service members and veterans, we salute you, and you're putting your life on the line for our freedoms and the American dream of home ownership, land ownership, and private property rights. And if you're looking for us, here we are, Apple Podcasts. Just look for Stephen Theard. You'll see the Real Estate Connection pop up under Apple Podcasts. Or you can also find us on iHeartRadio, Podbean, and Spotify. And with that, God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And may you have a fantastic, whatever the rest of it is you're doing as you're listening to this podcast. And we'll see you next week, hopefully, God willing, on another episode of The Real Estate Connection, brought to you by Good Patriot Realty, a salute to home ownership.
This has been The Real Estate Connection with Realtor and Certified Probate and Real Estate Specialist Stephen Theard. Licensed Cal BRE number 0170019. For more information on this program, visit realestateconnectionradio.com. To contact Stephen directly, call 408-472-0817 or email info@realestateconnectionradio.com. And be sure to tune in next week at this time for The Real Estate Connection.